Hey everybody, what's up? Got a couple of matches to look at today, and the first one's against Not Going Anywhere. He's a really good regular at the $100 level. He's got 11% ROI and has made plenty of money this year, and he's basically just crushing the hundreds at the moment, and sat me a few times and asked if I would make a vid, so here it is. Alright, starting out the match, limping as usual, and he 4x's, and A7 suited's obviously a loose call if he actually has a hand, but he's he's probably I have a feeling he's probably being a little aggressive, so I'm going to call and see what happens, and just give it up when he fires out the 100 bet. Alright, 8-2 suited, and he raises 3x, so he's being quite aggressive, and I'll just be a little patient. And here I try a min raise just to see how he reacts to it. I want to know, does he respect the min raise as a bet size? Will he fold to min raises? And he does. Alright, I can use min raises to control him a little bit, I hope. Alright, he 3x's again, and I try 3-betting him. He's been really aggressive the first few hands, and if he's tight aggressive, which I expect him to be, I should get a fold here quite often, and he shoves. So pretty poor timing there, but never mind. I still think the 3-bet is right against tight aggressive players, if in fact he is tight aggressive. Right, min raising, and he 3-bets me. Wow, he's been really aggressive, so we shall have a little patience, I think. And 3x from him, let it go. So this is a point where we've had like 6 hands in this match, and apart from the one where I min raised, he's raised or 3-bet me or 4-bet shoved me, sort of on all of the hands. He's been really aggressive, and not much I can do when I'm not getting decent cards. Just gotta wait, and good things will hopefully happen eventually. Alright, min raising, because if I limp, I'm afraid he's going to attack my limp. I might limp a strong hand, and he 3-bets me again, so he's just super aggressive. Let it go, and maybe even think about folding. Another raise from him. Started out really aggressively, and I tried the 3-bet again, and this time I get a fold. So I think the last time I just got the timing wrong. These things happen. I still think it's correct to be 3-betting him. Right, Queen 6, min raise, and we get a flat, as in a flat call, and my my c-bet size here, 60 chips out of the 80 pot. Normally I'd be betting 40 or 50 chips, but this guy has been pretty aggressive, and I don't want to look weak, so a little bit stronger c-bet size there. And he folds, and I'm going to call on King 10. I'll call broadways when we're this deep, and check it behind, then fire, because I think I could possibly get a fold here. If he's a tight aggressive player, he could fold over cards here. He flats, and we get a pretty nice 9 on the river, and this is an interesting spot. I mean, 6, 7, 8, 9, I don't think I'm getting many chips in this spot, so bet 100 into the 240 pot, smaller bet size, and the reason I'm doing this is because that particular sort of bet size might get value out of maybe a 7 or a 9, or even over cards if he thinks I'm bluffing. It's easy enough to call, and it's also small enough that he can try and bluff over the top. And he raises it up to 395, and of course I'm not folding, and he did in fact bluff over the top. So I'll just go back a step there, and just have a look at that bet sizing. Often there are spots where you probably got the best hand. You can bet like 200 or something, but it's so obviously such a dangerous board. You're not getting much value, and therefore I would suggest this small bet size, which allows them to bluff over the top, and is probably getting maximum value if they don't have much. Alright, so we're in the lead, which is good, and min raising to control him, get a fold, and he 3x's his pre-flop. I flat it, and I think ace-4's not a very good call. I'd often fold that, but he's just been so aggressive, he's forcing me to play hands. Alright, check, and he fires out 80, which I'm going to flat. I'm not going to raise him here or build a huge pot when I don't like my kicker. And he checks behind on the 9, and that's a pretty nice river. And 180 here. This is similar to the last situation where, you know, I'm probably not getting called by much, and I should probably maybe try the 100 bet size if he hadn't already seen that. But seeing he's seen me bet 100 into a sort of, you know, 240 pot with what was pretty much the nuts, you know, was very likely to be the nuts, I don't think I can do that sort of bet sizing again. So increasing the bet sizing here to sort of mix things up, and he folds. Alright, queen 6, raise, 3 bet from him, and let it go. And we've chopped off one of his legs here, and we're going to raise with queens, and he folds. And I'm kind of happy I had the 2-3 bets before. By the time I hit queen queen, you don't want to make your first 3 bet queens or kings or something, and it's such an easy fold. Alright, min raising, and I could bet this flop. I've got a gut shot. I could represent the ace, but it's not many chips. I decided just to check it down. Now I've got a double gut shot, and I check it down again, and I miss everything, and I give up the pot. And I'm happy to do that, because even though I'm giving up 80 chips there, I think in the longer term he knows I'm not c-betting 100%, and I think it gives me a little bit more credibility when I do c-bet some of the drier flops. So giving up one pot is probably going to help me take 4 or 5. Alright, raise from him, let my 5-9 go, of course, and I'm pretty close to 100% min raise pre-flop, even though he's 3-betting me quite aggressively. Now I've got the chip lead, I'm just going to keep sort of putting the pressure on him. Alright, raise from him, and I flat it. I think it's a pretty horrible call on queen 8 suited, much looser than I normally would. Now I'm going to bet the turn. I don't want to give him a free flush draw in case he has one, make him want to pay for that, and he folds it up. So he's fairly tight post flop, or maybe he just thought this was a very wet board and he's not getting many folds. Alright, min raise, and get called, c-bet, and flatted, and now I've hit on the turn, so I can check behind and hope to bink an extra card, which I don't, so we'll let him have that one. You know, can't win every pot. Right, queen 10, and I'm not going to get too tricky here. I've got a almost 2-to-1 lead. Now I just have to, you know, wait for the right spot. I think, you know, the ball is in his court as far as sort of being aggressive and pushing things. I can be patient. Alright, not a great flop. And he bets it. I'll let it go. I'm not going to make any silly mistakes and try and make a move or anything at this stage. Alright, min raise, nice flop, and make a slightly smaller c-bet size here, just to encourage a call. Trying to look weak, but it doesn't work. Alright, raising from him, and I fold my 8-5, 8-2 obviously when he raises, I'm going to let it go. And here I raise, and once again, well, there's a couple of things to talk about on this flop. First of all, I really think it's going to hit his calling range, and second of all, this flop fits what I call the 5-card rule, which is something that I made up recently, which is basically any time you're getting called by 5 cards or more, realistically, then that's a bad time to bluff the flop. So look here, we're getting called by an ace, possibly a king, queen, jack, and 10, so that's 5 possible cards, and therefore the 5-card rule is in effect, meaning it's a bad flop to bluff, and I shall let it go and see if I can hit an 8 or a king. Alright, and 10 on the turn, pretty crappy card for me. Now I'm just going to check it down and hope we get to showdown, which we don't, so let that go. I mean, he doesn't need a king. I mean, all he needs is, you know, an ace, queen, jack, and I'm cooked, so no need to compete for that one. fold from him, thank you. And I have a weird theory, which is that after people bluff, they're much more likely to fold the next hand. So I'm not sure how true it is, but there's a possibility he bluffed me on that last one, according to my weird bluff and fold theory. So, alright, raise and get 3-bet, so he's gaining a bit of confidence here. And just being patient, he's a reg, and I don't need to do anything, anything that special. I don't need to sort of try and out-spew him or out-aggress him. Just going to play solid poker. Alright, min raise and get the fold. Raise from him, call, and when I say I'm just going to play solid poker, I remember I made a move on this hand. Alright, I check any bets, and I come over the top here. I think it's a reasonable flop to do this. I mean, let me put it this way: if he calls, obviously I'm out of there. I'm not going to sort of lose any more chips on this hand, and I can represent a king or a jack. So I think it's it's an okay flop to make a move, and the move actually works. He folds, but what I want to say is that people make these moves, in my opinion, too early in the match. You can see I've waited quite a few hands before I made a post-flop move. I built up my credibility, and then that means that the move is probably going to work. Whereas if you do it, first hand of the match, and say, why didn't it work? Well, it didn't work because the first hand of the match, and you got no credibility. I think I mentioned that in the last video, but it's an important point. Alright, min raising to control, and more of that, and c-bet. Nope, I didn't c-bet. Thought I was going to c-bet. And actually it turned out to be good timing for me, because I bet the turn here and got called, and I kind of chickened out and didn't bet the river. I'm figuring that I can't beat any of the aces, and I'm probably not getting called by much worse, but in fact I was. He had a king, so I lost some value there, but it's okay. Alright, he folds, and he folds again. Looks like he's really slowed his aggression down a little bit. Sort of, folding again. I think it's, and another fold. So this is when you see someone like fold 3 or 4 hands in a row, you're thinking he's gone back into his box. Like he's tried being really, really aggressive, and that hasn't worked. So what's the next plan? The next plan is to slow right down, which is what he's done. Alright, here he raises, and obviously 9-3, and I just keep min raising him, and now I'm going to c-bet and get the fold. So my c-bet percentage is pretty high, but I'm selective about it, looking at board texture. And call this, and I could make another move, but I think I've made one too recently, so just let it go. No need to get too tricky here. Got a nice lead, chopped one of his legs off, and now all we have to do is lean on him, as they say. Alright, and c-bet again. He's not getting too spewy with me post-flop, so I think it's right for me to c-bet and keep the pressure on him. And he folds that one, and keep raising. Obviously I'm not selecting which cards I raise with, I'm just raising pretty much anything. And c-bet again, take it down, call my ace-5, let it go if he bets. Actually, here I try and take a stab because I've hit, and on the river I make a pretty bad mistake of betting 8 into the 320 pot, and the reason it's a mistake is because it looks like sort of a weak blocking bet, and it is a weak blocking bet, and he comes straight over the top and makes me fold it up. So I should have learnt from before. Never mind. Alright, 3-bets me again, and this time I call. Horrible flop, and I have to let it go. So quite aggressive from him, and not a great call on Jack 10, but his 3-bet percentage is so high, I'm tempted to call and try and hit a flop. Alright, raising from him, and obviously I'm not going to call on junk. And here I'll have a bet here and take it down. So he's really tight post flop when I've raised, which is nice. He's sort of more aggressive pre-flop, if you will. Another 3-bet from him. Good for you, sir, all yours. And here I return the favour with my king 3, the Krabbler. Perfect hand at 3-bet. I think the timing there was a bit a bit dodgy because he just 3-bet me the hand before, so not the best timing, but anyway. Alright, and he 3-bets me again, super aggressive pre-flop now. I'm going to flat it. If I can hit a 10, then, you know, I could take a nice pot, and that's a nice flop, sir. And I'm just shoving over the top. If you want to call, you can call. If you got me beat, you got me beat, no problem. And he folds it up, so my top pair was good, and now he's down to half a stack, so let's try and finish him off. And he limps. Not sure about the limp. He could be limping a strong hand. I mean, I'm just not going to do anything too silly. Nothing more silly than usual anyway, which is probably not saying much for me. Alright, raise and he shoves. Okay, so he's not 3-betting anymore, he's just shoving. And I'm going to fold my 2-5. That's not really, I don't want to raise and get shoved over. And he folds ace-9. I raise and he folds. I think I would have called his shove on ace-9. Possibly, I think so. Alright, here's a paired board. Just going to let it go. You know, no need to do anything silly. I've got the lead, not him. Raise and he shoves again. Alright, so my criteria for calling him are going to drop, you know, probably around ace-8 or something like that now. He's just shoving too much. Alright, raise from him, 3-bet from me. I've got the goods this time. I've been 3-betting him enough that there's some chance he'll shove on me, but no, never mind. Alright, ace-queen, raise, and obviously, ace-9. This is, as I said, I lowered my criteria to around ace-8, and ace-9 suited is definitely good enough for me to call, and he shoved me on king-6, so I've just got to avoid a king or a 6, and 6 on the turn, but I've got a lot of outs. Could catch a 9 or an ace or a diamond, and re-bink on the river. So that's that match against not going anywhere. He was super aggressive pre-flop. As you can see here, shoving on king-6. Kind of more what I would expect from a turbo player, but he's a reg speed player, but yeah, quite sort of quite tight post-flop, but very, very aggressive pre-flop. So that's that match. Hope you enjoyed it, and I think I'll do one more. I'm going to have a look at a guy who is actually a losing player, and we'll have a look at this match here. Alright, so you can see I've swapped places magically down at the bottom of the screen. And he folds pre. Always like it when people fold pre-flop. Alright, limping, hitting top pair. So obviously going to bet it. And he folds it up. All good. Alright, 3x from him. So far it's been a fold and a raise from his button. Obviously we'll let this go. And see what he does to the min raise. He folds to it. Nice. So he's looking pretty tight so far. And you know, I love tight players. That's definitely my favorite type of player. Players I dislike to play against would be the tight aggressive players. I think that it can be hard to get much of an edge against them. Alright, more raising from him. So maybe he's more aggressive than I'd hoped for. Kind of typical tight aggressive raise or fold. And here we've hit a pair, very nice. We're going to bet, and he raises. And, you know, I mean, it's only 80 chips. There's 240 in the pot. I think I'll call this, see if I can bink. And yes, sir, thank you very much, we bink. Alright, 280 here, and I'm just going to raise him up. I mean, if he's got a queen, I don't see him folding it. And he does fold, so don't know what he's got, don't know if he's making a move, but I think there could be a lot of value there if he had, you know, queen 8, or just any queen he might not fold, or something like 7-9, or even jack 10, a draw, or 5-7. So I think I want to raise there. I do not want to flat him, and the turn, or the river comes a 4, and he shoves me and he's got 5-7, and I just feel like a complete idiot. So I'd rather raise him right then and there. Alright, folds the next one, and I limp intending to call, which I do. Hit top pair, thank you very much. Going to flat it, and why am I flatting it? Well, because I don't really want to see another club come, which it does. Now my hand's completely ruined, and I have to give it up. So it's basically to avoid variance. that I'm flatting the flop here, and I'm intending to get it in on the turn if it's a blank. And it isn't, so I just let it go. Alright, he raises, I flat, and alright, good chance I'm good here. Ace on the river, thank you very much. Check it just to let him bluff at me. Alright, we're going to call this, and ace jack each. I think checking that is going to give him a chance to bluff, king, queen, jack, something like that, which a lot of players will do, try and represent the ace. So I'm happy. I didn't want to build a huge pot there anyway on a paired board, so it's all good. Alright, 2-5, let it go, and he folds my jacks. Very nice timing, sir. Limp my 7-6, have a stab, and comes over the top. Very nice. Let that go. And 4x my ace king, and he calls. That's a rather nice flop. I bet half pot. I don't know. Once you 4x pre-flop, what can you do when the flop comes in ace-ace? I mean, if you check, it's kind of obvious, and if you bet, it's kind of obvious. I mean, the pre-flop action is screaming, I've got an ace, so I might as well bet just in case he's got a draw or doesn't believe me. Not much I can do there once I've raised and painted myself into a corner. Alright, fold that. Alright, pocket fours, call this, completely miss the flop, and he doesn't bet, so I'm going to have a little stab here, get called, and block him on the river, and he folds. My bet sizing here on the river for the blocking bet I think is a little bit small. I should have tried maybe 90. I think that's a better bet size. But I mean, the last match not going anywhere, he took advantage of my small bet size on the river to sort of bluff me and attack me, so I should have made it a little bit larger. I would against him, but against this guy obviously that bet size worked. Alright, min raising to control him, and he 3-bets me. Let it go. No biggie. And here we've got this hand hurt at the time. Alright, min raise, get called. Yee, we've flopped the nuts. What could possibly go wrong? Alright, here I bet 20, the old wounded fish, to get him to attack me. And he flats me, still looking wonderful, trying to up the bet sizing here. 60, oh, we've got raised, fantastic. We're going to raise him again, try and get as many chips in there. The river's a bit yucky with a diamond and a 7, and he shoves. Ugh. Can I fold this? Well, of course I can't. I mean, I'm not good enough to fold this. 7's a horrible card. He could well have a diamond flush, and I'm sure a lot of people think I've played this horribly, but never mind. Call it, and he's got a full house, so just hit runner there. And I think any sort of, basically as long as it wasn't a 10 or an 8 or a 9 or a jack, then he was getting his chips in on the river. Basically any blank river he was getting his chips in, so never mind. Alright, so down to 800 here, and we need to reassess. And a little bit of pre-flop folding, and he folds away from my ace queen, and he folds my 10-9, queen 10. I'm going to call, probably not good. Basically 10% of my stack gone when he c-bets. Nice. So things not going so well, but as usual, time helps. I'm just folding a few hands here getting a whole lot of junk. And here I tried to 3-bet him pre-flop, getting a little funky, and he folds. That's nice. There's a few more chips back, and I make a larger raise size than usual, and he calls, and then folds post-flop. So just trying a few different things against this guy, slightly different raise sizes. Alright, queen 3, let that go. Raise my queen jack, and it seems like the slightly larger raise size is working. He folds. Here I've got pocket 10s, and you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to limp because I'm well known for it, and he's going to raise my limp, and then guess what? I'm going to shove, which I do, and he snaps me off on king 7. Thank you very much, sir. And now we're back into the match. What a horrible call, but I guess. And also, just let me say that this was at the $300 level, this match. So, people raising and calling the shove there in a $300 match. It's amazing. Alright, and back to the small raise size, gets called, C-bet, and he raises me, yuck. Never mind. So we're back in the match. I feel like I was kind of cool on that 10-8 hand, but we're back in the match. Alright, what are we going to do against this guy? We are going to be patient. I think, oh, that's a nice flop. Little bet of 60 because it's a very wet board, and he folds. So let me have a look at this one. This would fall under sort of the 5-card rule. 7, 8, 9 I'm getting called on. A 10 I'm getting called on. A 6 I'm getting called on. Plus the flush draws. So, you know, that's a lot more than 5 cards, which is why I'm betting this so aggressively. Alright. And raising. Folds. Thank you very much. Jack 10. I'm going to call that. And I'm going to hit the pair. And he's given me this full pot size bet, but he does this all the time, so I'm going to call it on middle pair. Nice enough turn, and then when he checks it down, oh, and I hit 2 pair on the river. We'll have a little bet here, and he folds it up. Alright, raising my 10-6, and min raise. Alright, I'll call on queen 4, and I'll hit top pair, thank you. Wet board, I'm going to peel one and see what the river is, oh sorry, the turn is. That's a very nice turn, and he doesn't bet again, and that's a very nice river as well. Now, how much value can I get from him here? Going for 210, and he calls me on 10-9. I guess that's reasonable, it's not a terrible call. Alright, so once again we've chopped a leg out off. It's down to 560, fold, and he folds, and I just try him in raise. Alright, he's not shoving, wonderful. And alright, this could be the hand that finishes him. I try the limp in case he wants to shove, and he doesn't. And he bets full pot, and I got a fold, mates, never mind. So that was, you know, the old limp trap. See if he'd fall for that one again. Min raise from him, miss the flop, and full pot, let it go. And I could shove this, but I think I'm just going to min raise and stab and take it down that way. That works. Now I've just got a few hands where, you know, I've got a bunch of junk. Alright, he shoves, let it go, of course, and he's raising. So, you know, I sort of had him down to 500-600 where he still is, but it takes a while to really finish him off. And calls, and it's an interesting board. I think I'm just going to check it. I think I'm getting called a lot. Now I've got the straight and a flush draw. That's nice. And ha ha ha, very funny. So straight on the river, and he bets full pot, and I fold. So let's go back and have a look at this. Why am I folding? Well, I'm only calling for a split, 60 chips. So, you know, considering it's 60 chips, I'm not going to risk 120 to get 60 back. I wish that was a 7 of clubs, by the way. I could have cleaned him up here. So, you know, he could well have the 8 here. I know this looks a little conservative, but I'm folding this. Alright, raising, and he's folding. And, alright, nice, he's tightening up. Then he raises me pre. I would obviously call this deep, but we're nowhere near deep enough for this, so let it go. My suited connectors. Just keep on raising. He's folding to enough of them for it to be profitable. And he folds my 8-8. Obviously would have shoved over his raise. Very nice fold, sir. Try the limp. Will he attack? No. And horrible flop. And now we just got to hope ace high is good, which it is. He missed all those outs. Thank you very much. So small ball poker at its finest, or perhaps at its worst. I don't know. I mean, limping ace queen, never betting it, and just taking down a tiny pot. Most people would probably cringe, I guess. Alright, limp, and he attacks my limp this time. Nice timing, sir. Alright, here we've got a double gutty, and he's pretty easy to control. Just check it down, miss it, and give it up. And as you can see, he was never going to fold his flush draw. So, you know, not betting there worked out okay. And once again, I was getting called, I think, by a 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, as well as all the flush draws. So that was not a bettable flop according to my 5-card rule. Alright, and he folds my king queen. Good timing. And I could shove this, but the min raise is doing the job. So why would I shove when a min raise will get me a fold? And he shoves that raise too. Let that go, I think, clearly. and I would probably shove if he raised or limped there with my 4s. And he calls. That's a nice enough flop. And I take a little chance here. I'm taking a chance that a king or an ace will come. I sort of ruin my hand, but I want to sort of try and trap him a little bit. And getting very, very trappy here in my old age. Now I have a little bet, and he folds. Oh, did our best. He raises, and I'll fold my 10-2. And just keep on min raising him. Keep the pressure on him. He's folding to my min raises, and that's the point. If he's folding the min raises, why should I be shoving? Ace 4, I'm going to let it go. He's not raising that much. And basically not going very far, but I haven't had great cards. And I'm just grinding him down. Alright, nice little flush draw here. Check it behind. Miss. I could represent an ace or a king, or I could just try and hit my flush draw. None of those, but 6 is good. So, all good. Need 3 X's and let it go. Keep the min raise up, and he shoves. No surprise seeing he just saw me raise on 6-2. Alright, he's getting more aggressive here. Be nice to have some cards, please. And call. I think that's a pretty horrible call, but I'd make it. He doesn't bet, so now I'm going to try and take the pot. He normally bets full pot. This time he hasn't, and he gives it up. Thank you very much, sir. So, worked out okay. And min raise, I'm going to call his shove. He doesn't shove, so I'll just check it behind and bet the turn. Take it down that way. And I know it hasn't been the most exciting endgame, but what you can look at is you don't need to be shoving like some sort of spew monkey against someone who's folding the min raises, and I think that's a very, very important point. Now he shoves, and you know, why take the risk? And nice enough flop here, and down he folds, so it's all going well. He's, you know, we're sort of slowly grinding him down. And a stab, and you know, you don't need to be getting that shove. You know, he's at 10 big blinds. I would shove if he raised, and can't get anything. Bit of a fold fest, and he's down to like, what is it, 9 big blinds now. So not too much longer. Now I should probably think about getting aggressive. He shoves over my limp, no worries. And I'm not going to double him up. He's folding a lot of hands, and he's not giving me too much pressure, so I don't need to worry about sort of shoving. And he doesn't bet, and bets the river, over bet, all yours, sir. Jack 9, I shoved that. He's now at 8 big blinds, so I think it's more reasonable to start shoving sort of Jack 9. He shoves, I'll let King 2 go, and yeah, I'm basically going to out-shove him here. I would have called that obviously 10-2. He's got sort of 7 big blinds, stick it in, and he calls me on a better hand, obviously. Only need to hit a 2 or a 10 or a diamond. Now I've got a lot of outs, more outs than a gay Mardi Gras, and Bink on the river. So that's the second match. Very different from the first in the aggression level, but still plenty to be learned from the end game, where you know, you don't need to be following Nash, you don't need to be super aggressive if the guy is not making you sort of do that sort of thing. Take the low risk, low variance option of just min raising the guy out of the game. So hope you've enjoyed